How to make an easy villager breeder in Minecraft. These are resources you will need for this villager breeder. So anyways, let's get into it. Okay, so the first step to this villager breeder is to place yourself out a dispenser facing pretty much any way. Then head behind this dispenser and place yourself a glass block behind the dispenser, and then going behind this glass block, place yourself a building block. Then place yourself 3 more building blocks to the left of this building block, so 1, 2, 3, and then build 3 more building blocks going towards you, so 1, 2, 3. Then once you've done that, place yourself 2 glass to the right side of this last block you just placed, so 1, 2. So what you should have now is something that looks like this. So anyways, what we will have to do now is expand all the building blocks we have in the back right here by 4 more building blocks going upwards. So anyways, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then once you've done that, what you will have to do now is place yourself a block going out from these 2 corner blocks, 3 blocks up from the ground. So anyways, 1, 2, 3, and then you will have to place yourself a block right here. So this block will have to be in a corner right here with a 2 block gap above it and a 2 block gap under it. And then once you've done that, you will also need to place yourself 2 trapdoors on the upper half of this block and then close them. And these trapdoors now close towards the block. And make sure these are placed going out from the upper half of this block. Pretty much like this. So anyways, once you've done that, what you will have to do now is place yourself a water source right under this corner block in the corner, pretty much like this. However, make sure you obviously don't place the water source right there, place it at the bottom ground layer. And now if you jump anywhere into the water source, you should now be pushed towards the corner right here. And then once you've done that, what you will have to do now is expand all the glass we have right here by 3 more glass blocks going upwards. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then do the same above this dispenser. So 1, 2, 3. Then once you've done that, build yourself a final layer of building blocks all above these glass blocks, pretty much like this. Then once you've done that, you will also have to head over here and then place yourself out 3 more solid blocks above this roof. So the top of the villager breeder should now look something along the lines of this. And the only open area you should have right here is the 1x1 room where the villagers that are breeding are gonna be. Then once you've done this, head back to the front, open this dispenser and fill it up with some mine carts, because that's how you're gonna be bringing the villager out of this room. Then you will also need to place yourself a powered rail right in front of this dispenser right here, and then place yourself a button on this dispenser. But anyways, to continue this, what you will have to do now is get yourself 2 adult villagers into this room right here. Now since I'm in creative, I'm obviously just gonna spawn one in. However, if you are in survival, I would recommend you just build a rail system and then just bring a villager up here. And that can be perfect because we for example have a village over there. But anyways, you need to get yourself 2 adult villagers in here, and what you will need to do now is get yourself a way to drop these villagers some crops. Now if you don't know, villagers will only breed once you've given them enough food, because once you give them food or crops, they will then throw the crops to each other and then start breeding. Now there's a couple ways you can make this breeding system or crop dropping system. One is that you can simply stand on top of here and then just drop them crops manually, or if you don't want to drop crops manually, you can also place yourself 2 temporary blocks right here, 1 block going outwards, that way you have a 1 block gap before you block off the villagers. Break out the 2 blocks right here and then place yourself a dropper facing downwards from this block right here. Then once you've done that, destroy out the 3 temporary blocks you have right here, fill up the corner blocks, then place yourself a lever on top of this dropper. And now if you fill this dropper with some crops, you can simply just flick this lever and the villagers will then be given crops and then start breeding. So that is of course a very easy way to simply have a dropping system to them. So anyways, now we just have 2 more steps to the farm. One of them is very easy, and that is to simply fill this dropper up with some crops, or simply just drop a bunch of crops to these villagers. And then the second and last step is to get yourself out a bunch of beds, because if you don't know, the villagers won't breed unless they have a bed nearby that's empty that they know their children can pick up. This means that if I for example place 5 empty beds near the farm, the villagers will be able to breed up 5 times, as in they will be able to have 5 children. So obviously if you want a lot of villagers, you will need a lot of beds. But anyways, to place out the beds, I would recommend you just head behind the farm here and then you start placing yourself out beds on the ground right here. However, one quick problem with this is that this is of course only 8 beds, and you can't really place beds above each other, as you can see. So what I would recommend you do instead is to place yourself out a layer of blocks, 1 block down from the top layer right here, then place yourself out the beds above these blocks, destroy out these blocks, then move this block platform 1 more down, and then place yourself new beds above these blocks, because this way you can actually place beds above each other using this little trick. Then you can of course move this bottom block, floor or line, whatever you want to call it, 1 block down, and then of course simply just place beds above these ones, and then you can do that for example 1 final time. And once you've done this, you can of course just break the blocks and then place yourself 1 final line of beds on the ground. And as you can see, we now have plenty of beds, and you can of course continue this going backwards. So anyways, now that we have done this, the villager breeder is now finally ready to be used. And all you have to do now to use it is simply just to drop a bunch of crops to these villagers, which I can for example do by simply just flicking this lever on and off. Or instead I can also just grab a stack of carrots or any kind of crop, break out this block, drop these crops down to these villagers, but just drop a bunch of crops to these villagers, cover this up, and in a moment they should start breeding up. Oh, and as you can see, some hearts have appeared, and that means that they have started breathing. So if we just stand here and wait now and watch them have some fun, in a moment, as you can see, a baby villager will be spawned. And because of the trapdoors right here, the baby villager any moment will pretty much just run out and then fall into the water. And the adult villagers will actually keep breathing pretty much until they either run out of crops or until the beds are just taken up. And as you can see, a second baby villager has just been bred up, and he of course fell into this room and then was pushed into this corner. Alright, so as you can see, so far the villagers have been breeding up quite a bit, and we should now have about 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, we have 5 baby villagers so far, and the villagers are breeding even more, as you can see, based on the hearts. So yeah, based on that alone, you can see that this works pretty well, and we're getting a ton of baby villagers. And now we have a 6th villager. And of course, if we now want to bring one of these villagers out, what we can do now is just press on this button, and a villager will come out in a minecart. So yeah, that's how to do that, and that is how to build a very easy and very efficient villager breeder in Minecraft. So anyways, that is it for this one, so yeah, thanks so much for watching, and hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions about how this works or anything like that, feel free to leave them down below and I'll try to answer your questions as quickly as possible. So anyways, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.